guys. Right, we're gonna go through a body weight workout. So we're gonna start on the floor for some warming up mobilization moves. So we're gonna start with a cat-cow. So you wanna be on your all fours, have the feet flat. So you're gonna round your back, push the floor away, tuck your hips under, and then roll the shoulders back and down, tailbone lifts, eyes looking forward. So you're gonna do that 3 times. You wanna think about really opening up the mid-back, so the right where the bra strap area is. It's an area where you get very tight in. And then we're gonna do a little extended all fours through the needles. So you're gonna stretch out your left leg, keep the toes on the floor, squeeze that left glute. The right hand is gonna come under the body, keep the hand on the floor, and just come about halfway down. And then rotate, bend that elbow, bring the shoulder blade in towards the spine. Keep squeezing that left glute to protect your lower back. So as you're reaching under, you want to think again about that mid back. Get a nice stretch, and then you're activating those muscles. Breathing out. Do 3 on each side. So these are kind of moves that you could do every day. It doesn't have to just be before a workout. They're really nice for the back. So right leg is extended, left hand's coming under halfway. Rotate, and again, really important to squeeze that extended leg glute. So that's going to help your lower back to relax so it doesn't take over this movement. We want the movement to come from the mid back. Good. And then we're going to do a little hip opener stretch. So you're going to come onto half kneeling position, and you're just going to lean yourself forward, move the foot to a second point, lean forward, and then out to the side. And make sure that foot's far enough away so that you get a really nice stretch, so the foot's not too close in. It's going to feel it too much in the knees. So nice hip opener. So again, the front, so you're going to feel the back hip stretching. Still pretty much the back hip. And then we go to the side. It's all through that front leg. That's going to feel that hip stretch. The other side. Again, these will feel really nice if you've been sitting a lot during the day. Set a computer. Always nice to get the hips opened up a little bit. There we go. So that's our warm up. So let's come on up to standing. We're going to start with some squats. So we're going to just, again, everything's body weight. So it's about the technique and the focus of the movement. So feet are going to be parallel, slightly wider than hip width apart. And what we're going to do is you're going to sit yourself down. I want you to think about heavy through the heels, but push the big toes down as well. Like you're trying to stick your bum back behind you and then driving up. I want you to squeeze the glutes, but I don't want you to thrust the hips forward. So it's a little small hip tuck, very small movement. So you're stretching the glutes, so again, heavy in the heels, push the weight through the big toes. That's gonna help activate your glutes, and then driving up. Think about like you're pushing the floor away from you when you're coming back up to standing. Down, drive up. Making sure those knees stay aligned with your ankles. So as you're coming down, if you feel them going in, have a quick look. You need to work the side of the glutes, the hips there, to bring those knees aligned with the ankle. So I've written on the workout, I've got a range of reps, so between 10 and 15 of most things. So you're just going to go by what feels right for you. It's about getting fatigue in the muscles. If that reaches that in 8 reps, do 8. If you can get to 15, go for 15. Do a few more. And as well, when you're coming down that squat, I want you to think about, so coming down, so tailbone is lifted, grip the big toes, squeeze your back passage, and then drive up. So there's lots of layers to this movement. So down, tailbone lifted, big toes gripped, squeeze your back passage, push the floor away. Okay? Sounds like a lot, feels like a lot, but it makes so much sense once you get the hang of it, and you'll really get the benefit of this move with the squat. Right, so then now we're going to do a rear deltoid row, which is for the back of the shoulder. And yes, we're not going to use a weight, but you can use a weight for this one. So you're going to come into half kneeling position. You're going to lean your elbow on the thigh. You're going to pretend that you're holding a weight. So imagine you're holding onto a weight. Shoulder goes back and down there. You want to think about pulling the elbow back so the arm is 45 degrees away from the body, and then down. So if you breathe out and down. So you want to think about all the muscles through the back of the shoulder. So if you imagine I'm leaning forward, That's the angle you want to be, so 45 degrees away. You don't want to be lifting that shoulder up. You want to keep that shoulder down. And again, imagine you're holding 5, 6, 8 kilogram weight. Our brain is so powerful. There's lots of research to show the benefit of doing movements, thinking you're holding a weight. There's been studies done where they've had one group using weights, one imagining they're using weights, and they still had substantial muscle growth, which is amazing. So there's no excuse. You can do your strength movements even if you have no equipment. Let's go for one more. Good, other side. So again, leaning forward, shoulder back and down, elbows, think about the elbow going back behind you and then lifting up. Like you're elbowing somebody behind you. And again, that arm is 45-degree angle away from the body. You should feel nothing in the neck. It should all be the back of the shoulder. Let's go for 3 more. And again, if you do have some weights, you can see how easy it would be to add that into this movement. Good. Back up to standing, back into those squats again. So we're going to keep the movement quite quick to get some cardiovascular benefit as well. So back to those squats, so feet are parallel. Coming down, tailbone lift, grip the big toes, squeeze your back passage, push the floor away. Okay, I'll just keep repeating to help you remember. So coming down, tailbone lift, big toes grip, squeeze your back passage, push the floor away, breathing out. And over time, again, it becomes natural. You'll still have to think about it, but the brain will have that pattern. And again, it's all about the glutes. Think about getting a big stretch to the glutes and then using them to drive your body up. Just don't lock those knees back. So again, think about you're pushing the floor away. If you're finding you're really struggling with the weight and you're feeling you're really going quite a bit forward, put a chair behind you or use a sofa and just tap your bum onto the chair or the sofa and then drive up. It's amazing how much that can help keep your weight shifted back if you're struggling with that. So I have a chair handy or I could show you. But again, you would just literally just touch the bum. You wouldn't sit down, just get that connection of the bum to that surface and then drive up. And that's going to help connect those mind muscle connections with the neurotransmitters fired up to help the body lift back up using the glutes. Right, and then right back down to our deltoid rows. So half kneeling, shoulder back and down, breathing out as you're pulling back. Think about the elbow leading the movement. Shoulders down, neck is relaxed. Breathing out through pursed lips. So that's another technique to add into all these things. That's going to help connect with the diaphragm, which is going to help connect and lift the pelvic floor. Two more. Other side. So you should really feel those muscles working, again, even with just body weight. Now I appreciate doing back moves and shoulders without weights is challenging. There is a limitation to how many movements you can really do, but find the ones that work for you. If it works well, you feel the muscles working, keep doing it. Or three more. Perfect, right. Come back up to standing. So we're just going to do 2 sets of each pair of exercises. You can do anywhere from 1 set to 4 sets of each pair of exercises, depending on your energy and the time you've got available. So the next 2 are a reverse lunge or a hip hinge with the toe tap. So it's a variation that's much more knee friendly. So if you find that lunges just hurt your knees, don't feel right, start with this modification and then see if you can progress in the reverse lunge. If you can't, that's fine, you don't need to do them. So the full reverse lunge would be standing with the feet hip width apart, parallel, and then stepping one leg back, bending both knees, driving up. So you want to think about, imagine you're standing on a train track and those feet stay on their line. So you're not on a tightrope, you're not stepping right back to the center. That's where people do go wrong. We set back in the center and we lose our balance. So imagine train tracks. So going back, drive up, or you could be in a hip hinge position. So bend your knees, lean forward, tailbone lifted, squeeze your glutes, keep the left leg bent, and you're gonna tap the right toes back and tap in. You can hold on to something for balance as well, absolutely fine. If that's gonna help give you some stability to really get strong, do it. So you're gonna really feel this non-moving leg doing all the work. So make sure that tailbone is lifted, squeeze that glute. Okay, quite a long demo there. So let's actually do the movements. So whether you're gonna do reverse lunges or the toe taps, we're gonna go for, we'll do 10 more on this left leg in the front. If you've been joining me in the little demo there. So you reverse and up, keeping those shoulders relaxed, chest open. Breathing out as you're coming up. And again, feel free to do the toe taps. Still a very challenging move, so it's not easier by any means. It's just another option. It's just a bit different. One more. Good. Definitely feel that. Right, other side. The left leg goes back and all the way to standing. If you're doing the reverse lunge here, think about the back knee aiming towards the tap on the floor. Don't hit the floor because you don't want to bruise knee. But if you imagine that, you'll then naturally have a longer step back. What can happen is a very narrow step. And that's hard on the knees. So long step. Or again, your hip hinge with toe taps. And again, especially with these ones, hold on to something for a little bit of stability. That can make a world of difference on really getting that leg strong. With 3 more. There you go. All right. So you don't need weights to work your legs. All right, so the next one is press ups. So not everybody's favorite, but let's give it a go, okay? They're really effective movements for upper body strength without using weights. So I do mine variation a little bit different. So again, it's all about being as joint friendly as possible. So what you're gonna do, if you imagine I'm in my press up position, your hands are gonna be turned in slightly. And then when you're lowering your body down, you wanna bring your chest to the line between your hands and the elbows are 45 degrees away from the body. And then you push up. So you go down and up. And we're gonna do modified on the knees, not girl press ups, just on the knees. So what I like to do is to start first in a full plank position and then drop your knees, keep your legs together, and then see where your hands are so that you've got the wrists under the shoulder line. Shoulders back and down. You wanna think about tucking the ribs under, squeeze your glutes tight, and then bending those elbows so they're 45 degrees away from your body, and then breathe out as you press the floor away. You don't have to go far down. You go with what feels comfortable for you right now. Once you get more familiar with the movements, then you can start challenging yourself and see, well, how far down can I go? And if you try to go really slowly and you think, oh, I'm stuck, just go all the way down, let yourself come up naturally, and then start again. So again, squeeze the glutes, keep the ribs tucked under. You're lowering your chest down towards the center of the hands. If you imagine as well, do a couple more, that in this area, just above where your chest lowers down, if you imagine there's a mirror there, and you need to see your reflection the whole time. So if you see how that's gonna keep my body in the right position, because what tends to happen is that we do that. And that's really hard on the shoulders. Right, back up. Back to the reverse lunges or the toe taps. So we'll start with the left leg going back. So we're gonna go for 15 on each side. So again, you decide if you're gonna do your reverse lunge or your toe taps. Do which one feels best for you, which one's gonna challenge you the most without straining any joints. Especially if you have some achy joints with your perimenopause symptoms, that can be really, really tough to get moving, but I do promise you, you will feel better from moving. I know it does not feel like it, trust me, I know. And that's where you have to modify some movements. Make them a little bit easier, make them more joint friendly. Just move your body, and you will feel better for that. Your body will really benefit from that. We definitely have to get rid of that saying, no pain, no gain. No, there should be no pain. Muscular fatigue, yes. Heart rate, out of breath, yes. Not straining, no pains, nothing like that. Go for a couple more. Good, and straight to the other side. This is where you're really gonna feel the heart rate increasing, because you're going from working the big leg muscles on the right leg to now telling your heart to start pumping all the blood to the left side. So it's gonna have to work hard to do that. This is where we get that cardiovascular benefit from strength training. There's so much benefit to the strength side of it. And you get a lot more done in a less amount of time, because your progression can just be through repetition, load, or time, so you can slow your movements down. If you do a lot of cardio, you're always going to have to increase the time to make it more challenging. And that's not something we got a lot of. Two more. Done. Good. Back down, periceps. So if these are feeling just too much right now, then what I want you to do is just to hold the straight arm position. So get yourself in that plank position. You can hold the full plank if you want, or drop those knees down and just hold this position and really get the weight shifted forward. Squeeze your glutes and just get a sense of that feeling and that trust that you've got the ability to hold your body weight up and to carry it down. So shoulders back and down, ribs tucked under, squeeze your glutes tight. Even if you just do a tiny bend, that's gonna do your brain so much good, because you're showing it that, oh yeah, I can do that. I'm not gonna hurt myself. I am capable of that. And then over time, you start to increase that range of movement. Breathing out as you push up. Two more. Well done. Just do a little quick child's pose stretch. Stretch out the chest and shoulders. Whew. Grab some water. Then we're gonna go on the ground. I thought we were gonna get it back up again, but we're not. We're on the ground now. We're gonna do a couple core exercises. Just hang. So I'm not a big believer in doing a lot of core specific movements. Again, very, very time consuming, quite minimal benefit. So it's about really understanding how to engage your core in all of the big movements. So I do like to do, especially with starting out new programs, is to do some of my favorite core movements to help you connect to those core muscles, which again, you then apply it to all your other movements. So you're not having to spend a lot of time on just your abdominal muscles. So first one is a dead bug. So what you're gonna do is you're on your all fours, not your all fours, the opposite of that, reverse tabletop, palms are facing in. Before you do anything, I want you to shuffle your shoulder blades under your back so your shoulders are nice and down. And when you think about your ribs, you want to try to drop them down. So you want to tuck them down. So you're almost like you're pushing the back of the ribs into the floor. And then we're going to have your feet flexed, so heels pressed out. And you're going to just, as small range of movement, extend one leg, stretch out the opposite arm, and then coming back into center. So we want to think about this connection from the ribs to the hip. So if you imagine that from the ribs to the hips, you've got like a spring coil and that's wound up tight and you're stretching it, but you don't want it to break. So you've always got tension connecting from the ribs to the hips. That's going to help engage those abdominal muscles. So squeeze your glutes as well. And I like to push the heels out because I imagine then that I'm pushing my heel into something, which then helps activate that glute, which always then will help engage the core a little bit further. Breathing out as you come back to center. So extend, back to center. So you choose the range of movement that you can fully control. So when you're extending out, the ribs need to stay tucked in, the core has to be engaged. If you're pushing the ribs up, the stomach is pushing up, that's too far. So you go find your point that you can control and challenge your body safely. And breathing out as you come back to center. So I appreciate for those of you that do the Pilates, it's going to be slightly different than the techniques that you're doing Pilates. It's a different focus. So you should really feel those deep core muscles working hard. So they're under tension right now, and then they're firing up, engaging in the center. So you're stretching them with control, back in. So let's go for one more each side. Good. And the next one is one of my favorites, is a thigh press crunch. So I don't know what word to use, but we don't do sit-ups and crunches in that way. I'll show you what I mean by this. So a lot of technique to this one. Both feet are flexed. One leg is up. You're going to press your hands. So my hands are stacked. I'm going to press them against your thighs. So you're creating a two-way resistance. So I'm pushing against my thigh and I'm pulling my thigh in towards the hands. So what you're going to do is you're going to push and pull as you do a really big breath out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out candles. And then swap sides. So if you do a couple of those there with me. And then now I want you to think about also pushing the heel down of the leg that's on the floor. Push that heel into the floor and activate that glute. That's going to take it next level up, again, of really getting the TVA, the transverse abdominis muscles, activated. So pushing and pulling the thigh, feet are flexed, breathing out. And you've got to get some power in that breath as well. I don't want a little small breath, like big breath out. You're blowing out 100 candles. And get to the very last bit of the breath, because that's where you're really going to feel those muscles connect. And we're really working on lifting that pelvic floor. Go for two more. Good. A little rest, so do those same two again. So they're quite similar in the way we're challenging the muscles. One's doing more of an extension and one's doing more of a contraction. But I think they complement each other really well. I'll show you an option for that second move with the ball if you need as well, or a cushion. So again, coming back down to our dead bugs. So again, shuffle those shoulder blades under the back, palms facing in. If you prefer having your toes pointed, if that's what you're used to, you can do that. But just challenge you to try with the heels as well and just see how different that feels. So the ribs are down, core is engaged, so meaning the muscles are activated, they're not tucking in, sucking in. And then again, you're going to extend opposite arm and leg. Imagine that the connection through the hips and the ribs is really strong so that there's no opening up and relaxing of the muscles. Breathing out back to center. What I find can help sometimes, if you imagine that the moving hand and foot are attached by a resistance band and you're thinking about that stretch and then back in. And that can help also really keep those abdominal muscles activated and stable. And again, find the range of movement that feels good for you. It's not a competition. If you're getting a little like a hip popping as you stretch the leg out, limit the range of movement a little bit, and also really squeeze your glutes tight. Keep the hips tucked in as tight as you can, and that should hopefully help as well. That popping is not doing any harm. It's just a bit of instability in the hip strength and glutes. Really common, but we don't want to keep doing it. Again, it's no harm, but there's no need to keep pushing through that. We want to modify the movement a bit to get stronger in that hip stability. Right, so now that thigh press movement, if you found that by pushing the hands on the thighs, you just felt quite a lot of tension in the neck, put a little Pilates ball or a cushion, a pillow, under your head, and that's going to give you already a little bit of a kind of assistance to the alignment. So your ribs are going to be much easier to tuck down, and just see how that feels. So again, we're pushing on the thigh, creating that tension, pushing the other heel into the floor to squeeze that glute, and that big breath out. I prefer without the ball, but some people prefer with. So just try and see how it feels. And as well, make sure you're really pushing that heel down and really squeezing that glute. And get to the end of that breath. Three more. Last one. Well done, we did it. That's your 2 sets of everything. Just stretch your legs out, arms overhead. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, let everything stretch and expand. Oh, it always feels really nice. And then we'll do some stretches, so we'll stay by laying down first. So you're gonna have your right leg bent, left leg straight, grab behind the thigh, and you're gonna push through that heel. So if your leg is like really shaking, that's your muscles just going, whoa, you might be quite fatigued. So what you could do is do an active stretch. You could bring the knee in towards the chest, so the thigh to the stomach, and extend, pushing through the heel. And then see, can you hold it at that point? And again, that shaking, it's no harm to hold the stretch with a bit of shaking. It just doesn't feel very comfortable. And then cross the ankle over the right thigh. Grab onto the right thigh. Both feet are flexed, so press through the heels. And then what I want you to do is think about pushing your tailbone into the floor, arching your lower back a little bit, and then pushing the left knee away from you. So you should really feel a deep stretch in that left hip. Again, please make sure those feet are flexed and relax the shoulders. And then right foot goes on left on the floor, right leg extends, push through that heel, relax those shoulders. Let that hip relax a bit as well. And we might find you might be really lifting that leg up. Let that hip relax. And again, if it's really, really tight or shaky, do your active stretch. And then ankle over the thigh. Grab that left thigh, feet are flexed. Arch the back. Relax those shoulders. Relax your jaw, your cheeks, your forehead. Good. And come on up to seated. I'm going to sit cross-legged if that feels comfortable. Do a side stretch. You're going to press your right hand into the floor. Left arm reaches over. And I want you to really push that right hand into the floor. So create some force. And then really lighten that left arm over, pushing your left sit bum into the floor so you're not lifting the body up. So really nice stretch for the whole side of the body. Other side. And then hand to opposite knee. Other hand comes behind. Little rotation. So again, sit up really tall, shoulders back and down. And there we go. We did it. High five, ladies. So I hope that helped. So again, if you just want to even start doing one set through everything, if that's what works for you, do one set. You'll always feel better with some sort of movement. So if it's 5 minutes or 25 minutes, do what you can do, right? So enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.